curious and also inspired that you decided to use Jadon Comerford as the North American co-manager, because he's an Australian manager. And I guess the default position is, if you want to get a co-manager for North America, you find a manager in North America. Why did you choose to partner with Jadon in that way?
At the time, he was living in North America, from memory. When we started texting, he was spending a lot of time there anyway. And obviously, the success he had with Vance Joy in North America was amazing. And I think I played like a unified golf day or something and just met him and just got a nice vibe. So I just sent him a text and I asked him for advice on something when things were going crazy, and it just made a lot of sense. And obviously we chatted to Dave and put the question to him. But again, it was one of those very natural, organic things that wasn't forced, and it just felt like the right move. And, still to this day, we've never had a bad word. It just feels good, and it feels like everyone's got the same kind of vision. And he knows a lot of people over there. I remember being backstage at Coachella with him, and it was ridiculous. You know what I mean? So it's just having that connection base and that foundation. And he spends a lot of time there. Obviously, we've been on a bunch of planes over the last few years as well. So again, there's no right or wrong. It's just what's worked for us. But yeah, having those relationships with people on ground is definitely very beneficial, because you can't get to every single meeting and all that sort of stuff. Although with everything that's going on with the pandemic, I think after what's happening now, there'll be a lot more Zooming and Hangouts and all that sort of stuff for sure.
It's the ultimate leveler, I think, for Australian managers, because previously you're a competitive advantage if you were at the pub, at the people's offices, just with all the people in the industry in the States and the UK. But now it doesn't matter if you're 1 meter away or 10 meters away from somebody down the road or whatever, or you're in Australia, you literally have the same opportunity to communicate and build a relationship as anyone. So I think it's a bit of a competitive advantage, this COVID thing, globally for us as Australian managers.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, I live, half an hour north of Byron. I've been here for 4 years. It's like, even though the heartbeat of the industry is in Sydney, you go there a fair bit, and we just live on the phone and live on these hangouts. And that's always been the way for us. That's been the way since the get-go. So, being there in person is obviously incredibly important, but the real planning and all that sort of stuff starts for us about 18 months before the gig actually happens, or, minimum a couple of years before a release, like an album or something comes out. So it's all about planning and playing the long game, and not rushing stuff, which it took us so long to learn. And I'm still impatient and I still want to rush, but trying to be proactive, not reactive, and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, it seems to work, and it doesn't matter where. We've obviously got an office in Melbourne and we've got an office up here, but we've never felt like we needed to move to LA and buy a suit and run around and do meetings. It's just not what we're about as a company, and not how we want to support our artists in that way.
How often are you in LA and the UK?
Last year, I think it was maybe 4 times. A lot, yeah. I've done an annual trip to UK, Europe with Tash for the last 5 years or so. Last year, there's a lot of running around with Tones all over the world. So it just varies. It depends on if you're setting up a release, if you're looking to do deals, or just to be there to support your artists. If they've got a big promo look, like we were in New York, Jackson, Dave and I recently for the Fallon stuff that Tones did, and obviously her theatre run in Europe before it all got pulled. So it's that I personally find it quite hard to work on the road, because you're always traveling, you're always jet lagged, and we've got a very set way of doing things with scheduled calls and with living on the phone when you're on a tour bus, or when you've got to be at a gig or whatever. It is quite difficult. So, but you just make it all work. You find a way to make it work, and it's that old adage, there's a solution for everything, and that's kind of what we stick by and go off.